Forever young. Here we go. So we are on law number 35, which is master the art of timing. Wow, we're going to talk about time today. So the first note that I have from the book, it said, never seem to be in a hurry. And I put gym example. There was this chick, her name's Bella, gorgeous girl, and she worked at the front desk of the 24-hour fitness that I used to train one of my clients at. And I remember I became like casual acquaintances with this person, and she asked me how I was doing one day, and I took a deep breath. I waited like a couple seconds to respond because I actually like gave it some thought and was like, doing pretty good. How are you? The look of like doughy eye, joy, happiness, admiration, adoration, all in like a heartbeat was the coolest. It was the coolest response that anyone could ever receive from someone. What I didn't know at the time was that is because of how rare it is for someone to see someone who's present. It's the most rarest thing. There's a quote from a movie that said, my father says that everyone you see, everywhere you go, everyone is asleep. She said, but there's very few people who are awake, and they live in a constant state of total wonder and amazement. And it's very, very true. If you've ever seen somebody who's present, they literally glow, like because they're actually there. They're there in the conversation. They're not. Their mind isn't elsewhere. They're not preoccupied with something. They're not in their own head. They're not, saddened. They don't have, they're not communicating, even if it's nonverbal, anxiety about worrying something about the future or a depression because they're stressing about something from the past. They're there. They're there in the moment. And then it's so cool because you get to see them just magically come to life. And so I have never forgotten the response that I got from that person from enacting this, which is never seem to be in a hurry. Because what it is, and this is actually a really good, sorry, I'm pushing my teeth because it feels excruciating right now. It's getting, my teeth are getting extracted tomorrow. So what I was saying was, it's actually the biggest marker of a high value, high quality man is somebody who's not in a rush. They're not in a hurry. They're there, they take their fucking time, right? They're just like, they allow for the unfolding, life to unfold. It's the biggest sign of peasantry if you're in a hurry, if you're in a rush, and you know this, when you're dealing with someone and they feel like they're just in this hurry, you're just like, dude, just relax, chill out. Hakuna Matata. Be at ease. But it's the biggest marker, it's the biggest telltale. So that's an easy note to start the lecture off, which is never seem to be in a hurry. And I am incredibly distracted because my fucking tooth, it feels excruciating right now. But that's okay. I said we're going to do this lecture regardless of how you feel. I was actually thinking about taking a nap, but I woke up at just before 5 a.m. It was 4:59 a.m. this morning on like sub 6 hours of sleep. And I was like, we're going to correct our sleep schedule despite everything that we're going through right now, and we're gonna, our diet is pretty good. It wasn't the best yesterday because of excruciating pain, so we had to make adjustments, but I was like, dude, we're gonna keep moving forward. So luckily I listened to an audio today that you need to work when you don't feel like it. And I was in the shower and I was negotiating with myself not to make this lecture. I was like, why don't we do this? First I was like, let's take a bath. And I tried to put the drainage thing down to fill up the water. It didn't work. So I said, okay, we're not doing a bath. And I said, you know what? Let's not do the lecture. Let's go take a nap and then make this when we're well rested. And then I caught myself and I said, you're going to put your dress, you're going to dress, you're going to transcribe lesson plan. And then I felt terrible. So I made myself some food, get myself some energy. And I said, just get this fucking done. Go. Just do the work. Just eat the frog. Just bite the bullet. Just keep going. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how quickly we can negotiate with ourselves and how we can, find a way to sell ourselves on getting out of the work. And it's like, if you do that over and over and over, dude, it will become a habit. You'll make quitting and procrastinating and negotiating a fucking habit. And you have to make your mind the slave, dude. You have to, or make the body the slave. Become the master of your mind by saying, what I say goes. If we're doing this, I said we're going to do this. And there's no negotiation. You're not, this isn't a conversation. This isn't a democracy, right? So to continue, and then you just have to endure me bitching and moaning and complaining about my really painful teeth. Patience is the principal requirement in the art of timing, patience is the principal art requirement in the art of timing. And here's a quote from the book. When you force the pace out of fear and impatience, you create a nest of problems that require fixing, and you end up taking much longer than if you had taken your time. It's actually from the book The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. There's a story in it that it's like this elder is with this kid, and he's like, if you want to transform your life, I think that was the premise of it, you'll have to do this meditation exercise for, it's like 5 years. And then he's like, well, what if I go down on the path and I work really hard and I put in twice the many hours and I meditate, twice as long? He's like, then it'll take 10 years. And he's like, wait, what? But I'm working twice as hard and this and this. But what if I do it this? And then he said, then it'll take 20 years. And the whole idea is enacting this exact quote. When you force the pace out of fear and impatience, you create a nest of problems that require fixing, and you end up taking much longer than if you had taken your time. It's the idea that I talk about with what Bashar, the guy, the entity that Daryl channels, that the fastest way to get to your destination is to simply surrender, is to go with the flow. And you go with the flow by following your intuition, following your excitement. He said, even if you have a couple options, and something is even slightly more exciting than this thing, he said, follow that. And it's so important when you extrapolate this, because he goes further in depth, that it's not necessarily about obtaining whatever it is that is guiding your excitement. He said sometimes universe, God, they'll use this thing as a carrot to guide you towards this direction. And then in the pursuit of this, then the path continues. So I'll give a good example. Say there's this job or this woman or this whatever fucking accolade that you wanted, and this is your preferable outcome, preferable reality, okay? So this is where your excitement is, guiding you towards. But in the pursuit of that, then you find your actual soulmate or your actual dream job or your actual passion, or you have a, epiphany, you do ayahuasca, and you're like, no, what I want to do is travel the world, do entrepreneurship, do this. That was gleaned in the pursuit of following that excitement. So you didn't necessarily need to have to obtain whatever the thing was, but the whole premise of it is to always lean into your excitement at any given time. He said that's the mechanism. That's how you're going to get exactly what you want out of life. That's how you're going to feel the most fulfilled. It's literally following in the path of your complete potential, your complete nature's design, right? By just leaning towards your excitement, what you want to do unrestricted in the absence of limiting beliefs, right? Because if you say, oh, I can't do this because of input obstacle that's self-constructed. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have the network. It's all bullshit, right? It's all, fuck these teeth. It's all needless excuses that you're putting in your own way, right? Because another thing that he explains, he was like, have you ever heard the story of the photographer? Where he was like, I want to travel the world, but I don't have any money. I said this in a previous lecture. So he went to the airline. He was like, I'd like to travel for free, please. And then they laughed at him. He said, well, I'm a photographer, and what I would do is if you flew me out to these places, I'll take pictures of all these beautiful places, and then you could put them on your website for endless marketing. And they were like, okay, absolutely. And so, this photographer was able to get free flights, great accommodation, 4 or 5 star hotel, and then be able to travel the world expense free. He didn't pay a dime. You know what I'm saying? And so when you lean in towards your excitement, right, following what it is you want to do, you'll find that life will unfold for you. And while you won't manifest perhaps the thing, like the money to travel, you can manifest based on your belief system, based on the prism, and then your reality is a reflection of your belief, right? What you think is what you believe to be possible. Circumstances, conditions, opportunities, events that inadvertently, it's a good word, lead you to exactly where it is that you really want to go, if not to an even more preferable outcome or reality. So it comes from you surrendering, from you letting go, from you not harboring impatience. Gosh darn it, relax, calm down. And I can't stress that enough, because that is the next line. I saw a great video, and it was this guy, he's like a preacher of God and Jesus. And he said, if you ever hear the voice, you're running out of time, you're running out of time. He said, that is not the voice of God. And I am so grateful I saw this video. He said, if you ever, I'm running out of time, I'm worried, he said, that is not the voice of God, that's the voice of the enemy. To convince you, to frustrate you that you're running out of time, or that you're late, or that you're behind. All of that is bullshit. All of that is complete garbage. You're like, oh no, but this person in their race. And then in the video, he's like, Preston, that's somebody else. I have him in another race. You're okay. You relax, calm down, right? We tend to focus, and this is exacerbated by social media, focus and fixated on everyone else's timeline, everyone else's race. And we're comparing, I saw a great quote about it today, we're comparing our, shop, right? Our trials and errors and pitfalls with someone's fucking highlight reel, right? They're not showing you the days where they're depressed or they're lonely or they're broke or they're drowning in debt or their fucking marriage is failing. They're not showing you any of that shit. They're showing you the wins, right? And a lot of the time produced wins, as in fabricated, as in it's a skit. Jesus, I had eggs. I put pepper and salt on them. It's like one fucking pepper said, I'm not done with you. But how often do we do that? We judge our life in comparison to someone who is portraying a false reality. Dude, they're behind a filter. It's in a fucking production. It's a highlight this. And you're comparing your chapter, 1, 2, 3 to possibly someone's chapter 30. Or you have no idea, dude. You don't know if they're fucking miserable, if they're happy, if they're thriving, if they're fulfilled in any way, right? What the fuck are you comparing? So we always make the mistake. And it's to no fault of our own, because we are drowning in garbage and a distraction, which is, it's going to tie in with this law from social media. It's all exacerbated by it, and it's all in your face at all times. You can't go about your day in trying to just be connected to your friendship groups without seeing a bunch of fucking garbage. And it was actually a note that I put on here that I'm so glad all these came up. It just allows me to give so much more within this lecture, so much more like background and context. I saw a video of this guy who, he was like, does anybody else have the auto algorithm within Instagram? And he said, this is all that I look at. It's cars and it's, I don't remember, and then like Naruto or some shit. And it was like anime. It was all that he ever looks on, scrolls on, likes, comments, forwards. He said, but then I cannot go on this app without this thirst trap, lust, fucking whore garbage on this app. And it's fascinating because I will go onto my app and I'll see that exact same thing. I literally have to manually go, not interested, not interested, not interested, and they perpetuate forever. And it's not to say I haven't, been caught slipping by a very lustful fucking thumbnail. And you're just like, there's no way this could be. And then you click on it. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of that, but the amount of times that I don't fixate on it and that it continues to populate and perpetuate and exacerbate, there's no fucking way that's not done purposefully. And that's why when you actually step back, it's quite sinister what they're fucking doing. They're selling this garbage and they're promoting this garbage. And even today, I was looking at all of it. I was looking at this Asian, he looked like a grandparent almost, dressed in like this pink kitty hairband, and we had these paws on. And I said, do you have no fucking shame? Like, if your parents or if your grandparents or if your ancestors are watching what you're fucking doing right now and you feel so comfortable advertising this garbage, this fucking retarded idiocracy, whatever, this fucking stupidity to the world, and you see that, and you see these whores, and you see this just fucking garbage, and it's just, how the fuck are we living in a world where there's no sense of shame? There's no sense of, disgust when they see all of this stupidity, when they see all this degeneracy, when they see all this garbage, when you see the woman very calmly and openly communicating that I just got my back blown out, and I'm just like, 50, 60 fucking years ago, can you imagine what kind of disgrace you would be to your family if you fucking spoke like that in public, let alone for the entire internet, the entire world? It's just, there's a good South Park episode where it's just like, where the fuck has the bar gone? Right? We've lost the bar because the standard is so low, because we live in a state of, we're so desensitized to the degeneracy, to the stupidity, to the abundance of celebrated whores and prostitutes and OnlyFans and all this fucking garbage, dude. It's insanity. It's insanity. And I see all of this, and it's impossible to escape it if you're on social media. You will find it on every social media platform, uncensored, unfiltered, and just purposefully programmed into your fucking day. You cannot go on any of these apps or outside of your fucking house without, all this garbage being in your face. I'll listen to an ad on YouTube and they'll use words like bitch and these kind of things in the ad. And I'm just like, can you imagine if people felt so comfortable to speak like this, not 40 fucking years ago, not 40, 50 years ago. And yet it's so, and I'm saying it right now in heat, right? In upset. But I'm talking about when you're watching like a Mint Mobile commercial based on a children audience. I put on these YouTube videos, not explicit content, not for children. So I'm talking about what they're doing purposefully to children through social media, dude. It's so fucking satanic and it's so sinister, because what it is doing is it's programming the prepubescent girl of how she's going to be raised, of who these idols are for her to look up to, the way that they act, the way that they talk. You see it in Olympian athletes. So athletes who are very young, like they just turned 18 years old, dude, the level of arrogance, the level of entitlement, the level of this boss babe kind of, and when I say boss babe, it goes for guys too, like the level of just insane stupidity, complete omission of class, absurd degeneracy. It just blows my fucking mind, man. And it's so disheartening to see. I saw an old quote. It might have been by Will Smith, who I'm not a fan of ever since he slapped that one dude, Chris Rock. It was like watching a fucking child. But the quote was, I don't want to lose my train of thought. He said, I'm looking forward to the day where things like etiquette, class, respect go back in fashion, like come back in style. And when degeneracy, stupidity, and promiscuity go out the fucking window, man. And unfortunately, that's the world that we live in today. It's just people are so comfortable advertising that they have no sense of shame. They have not a shred of omission of dignity for their actions, for the way that they speak, for the way that they publicly, on camera, exposed to the world, disrespect and dishonor their husband. I'll see all of this when I'm watching a video, and these girls make their husband out to be the biggest cuck, and I'm just like, fuck, man, because based on the lack of respect that they're communicating to the guy, that they're making him do in these videos, that man isn't respected when the camera's off, and that framework is totally fucked up, and that that bleeds into the children. I saw a beautiful video the other day, and he was talking about, this interviewer was kind of giving this guy shit for the idea of submission from your woman, and he had to correct him, and he said, it goes like this: I submit to God and to God's will. My woman sees me with the utmost respect because I respect myself, and so submission is the natural consequence of respect. So men who don't get submission from their woman, it's simply because they don't respect you. And so because I respect God and fear God and submit to God, my woman respects me and submits to me. My children see the respect that my wife looks at me with, and they act in kind. And he said it's like a divine chain of command from God to my children. And when you watch these videos of these promiscuous, degenerate, fucking garbage people, that whole beautiful dynamic of the family home, the unit, the nucleus of the cell is completely shattered, dude. It's completely lost. You know what I'm saying? That guy is not respected. That they're in a fucking sexless, passionless marriage. The arguments that are ensuing when the camera is off. The disrespect that's happening in private because they're doing disrespect in public. Dude, you're seeing the tip of the iceberg of the garbage that goes on. And so the kids are fucked. The fucking divorce rate percentage is just going to be going up, because how does that garbage end? I have a friend who, she's actually subscribed to this channel, but she's not going to watch this video. And she married a dude who is a cuck. And it was a laughing joke between us. And for me, it was out of absurdity, because I called her out on everything that she was doing, because there's a pro tip for men watching this. Women know the manipulation that they're doing. And I've said this in a prior lecture, that women will impart as much disrespect as the man will tolerate, because they have to find out where that line is, because they cannot respect a man who chooses to tolerate disrespect. So she was sharing with me all the stories, like I made him wait in my car for 8 hours during my entire work shift. I made him drive over from wherever he lives all the way over to my work to give me a bottle of water. Like, she had him on a fucking leash. And I told her, I said, I bet you he would, like, if you told him to be placed on a leash, I bet you he would fucking do it. Like, the utmost cuck ever. And that is the foundation of their marriage. And I said, talking to her about it, talking to other people, I said, how do you think that garbage ends, dude? When this is the foundation that you're setting for your relationship. It's founded on this fucking level of insanity and disrespect and stupidity. So it's just, dude, the world that we live in, man, it takes fucking nothing to operate with class, to be a made man, to just separate yourself from the fucking retards in this life. The people who walk around with nothing but disgrace and zero dignity and no shame and no, not a single shred of respect for themselves or for other people. So in this university, if you're a part of it, if you're affiliated synonymous in the slightest with Tarek Hawks, with Rat Life, you do not put stock or entertain or humor any of that garbage. You do not dress promiscuously. You do not post thirst traps. You do not speak with disrespect about your partner to your partner, let alone in fucking public, let alone advertise to the fucking internet. And there's a good quote, once you remember your value, you'll be embarrassed at the shit you once settled for. Another good quote should be, once you remember your morals, you should start harboring some fucking disgrace for your actions. You know what I'm saying? Some shame for the way that you carry yourself, right? I wish these people who walked around like this, I wish their ancestors could, be illuminated like a ghost and just fucking stare at them. And just, I would love for them to see that fucking look of horror, of shame, of disgust, of disgrace. Maybe then people would fucking change, man. It's crazy. But to tie it back in with God, since we went on that tangent, God's voice says you're okay in terms of timing. Don't rush. Relax. Calm down. He says this, God never talks like you're running out of time, you're in a rush, you should hurry. He says you're not late. Kind of like Gandalf. Do you remember when Gandalf met Frodo and he said, a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. What if your life is the exact same way, right? What if you're exactly where you're meant to be? What if you're exactly where you're meant to be right now, however far astray, whatever fucking hardship you're going through, which I'll list, my fucking current reality right now. Regardless of all the adversity, all the struggle, all the hardship, the towering effect where you feel like your life is crumbling, right? Excuse me. What if it's just mere preparation? What if it's all necessity? What if you say you want this life and this is just the price tag for the exact thing that you say that you want? What if you're not behind? What if you didn't make a mistake? What if it's all guiding you exactly to the dream, man? Exactly to where you're destined, where it is written for you to be. We don't think like that. What draws inspiration for me is seeing people like Robert Downey Jr. arrested, addicted to black tar heroin, seemingly so far astray, but literally in real time enacting the quote that the same path that you've tried to take away from your destiny is going to be the same path that turns out to guide you right back towards it, right on time, right? And I love also the idea that God will restore all the years that you lost, or that you feel that you lost in the hero's journey. For example, for me, when I came back from Europe, November of 2021, it was hell to get where I am today. And it's something that I don't, appreciate enough for how fucking hard it has been since November of 2021 to today. Like, imagine this. I come back, I have no place to live. My little sister puts me in a hotel in Ohio. I sleep for 4 weeks in a shared bed with my sister in a hotel from her work in Illinois. I sleep on the floor of her place in Kentucky for 8 weeks. I go to my brother's place. I finally make it back to California on his floor for 5 weeks before we get an apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 people. I sleep in a closet, like literally think of the Harry Potter closet, just about that size, maybe a tiny bit wider, to fit a full blow-up mattress that every night it would sink to the floor because of like a slight puncture or just 200 pounds of Tarek, so I slept on the floor of a closet for 13 months of that entire apartment lease. In all this time I don't have a car, I'm taking the bus. because I'm trying to keep the entrepreneurial dream of rat life alive. So I'm trying to keep my overhead expenses as low as possible. And then when I, was doing pre-workout sales and entrepreneurship, I'm like, there's no way I can pay out the debt from, mistakenly, or just, the learned lesson of business that I had to make of starting a business on a loan that we charged for all the inventory on my brother's credit card. And so it was like, I was negative, with interest, and then the interest that I promised to pay my brother back for taking on the venture, and the interest that was accrued on the credit card that we charged all the product inventory to, like out $15,000. So I was like, okay, there's no way I can do this with just selling these products to, all the people that I have access to. So I had to take a job at Amazon, working a graveyard shift, because nobody would give me an interview trying to get back into a school district. I couldn't even get reinstated at the old school district that I worked for. And then imagine the failure you feel like when, you're walking like a mile each way at midnight to take the last bus to get to Amazon next to fucking tweakers and drug addicts. Your shift doesn't start till 3 a.m., so you're 3 hours early, and you're just waiting at the facility to work your graveyard shift, to come back home, and your feet are fucking blistering from standing on them for, 10, 12 plus hours, especially when you do overtime shifts. And then I would literally come home, not set an alarm, I'd set a timer one time, and I do this frequently, but one time it was for like fucking 10 minutes or 15 minutes, just enough for by the time I went to sleep, the second I did, woke back up to do my next double shift. And then you're a UCLA graduate with your managers there being fucking high school kids, riddled with acne, and you're making, minimum wage, if that, and you're doing that, and then bro, it just, the game perpetuated. And then I went to Brazil, and then I got jumped in Brazil, and then later on, my rock bottom, dude, EDC. My sister gave me money for, I'm opening up a lot here. My sister, but I've shared this in so many videos, gave me money for groceries that I spent on drugs for EDC, and that was my rock bottom. I didn't even have enough money to take the fucking bus back to go to anywhere near where I lived, so I had a one-way. I was able to take it to work. I slept under the desk at my office at one of the schools that I worked at. And then I said, I can't do this anymore. So I was like, fuck this, I'm turning my life around. Because on the way back, I remember taking a bus, and there was this fucking tweaker chick that came up to me, and then I was like, fuck this. My neighbor at the hostel that I was fucking living at the time was a prostitute. Other people living there, and neighbor was the one who lived across I was in my own room, she was right here in this room, so in the same unit. Clients coming at 3 a.m., setting a 30-second PR. Drug addicts and alcoholics were my other tenants. Cockroaches would be coming out of the sink, and I said, this isn't fucking cute anymore, dude. I can't do this anymore. I said, fuck this. And that was the day I said, this is your fault. And I said, but you know what? What's to come, that's your fault too. And dude, from there, I chose to live in my car. I was like, I'd rather live in my car than have my potential in my life just thrown in the fucking trash. Just living in the fucking gutter like this. I said, I would rather curate my reality. I'd rather live in my car and be by myself than be around prostitutes, alcoholics, and drug addicts and fucking cockroaches. And so I did. And by the margin that I was able to save from rent, I was able to pay my brother during the 93 days that I lived in my car, just under $9,000 out of the 15. And then I was able to get this apartment. So I tie it in, not at the Robert Downey Jr. level yet, right? From being arrested and addicted to black tar heroin, like super low. I was never addicted to heroin. And then to go and be the highest paid actor. I think Iron Man at the time, he netted, it was like $50 million for the role. The highest paid actor in Hollywood, in the world. The same path that took you so far astray, right, is the same path that's gonna guide you back to your destiny, dude. There was never a mistake. There was never a misstep. You were guided the whole fucking time. You were protected the whole time. And so that's the path that you walk in when you walk with God. And then you go through the season of isolation if you choose to embark on your hero's journey. What I mean by that is that's the day that you say, fuck this. That's the day that you say enough. That's the day that you commit to going on your journey, right? To change and transform your life. And then that's when, at my lowest, and I'm not plagiarizing what Dave Ramsey said, but he said the exact same thing. He said, he made it to like millions, and then he lost everything. And he said, when I lost everything, that's when I found God. And that is when my real relationship with God started, was May 21st, 2023, at my absolute fucking lowest. And don't get me wrong, during the time that I've worked this rat life job, I shared this, it brought me to the point where I didn't want to live anymore. Like, I had that peak level of fucking despair where I just said, I don't want to play the video game anymore. I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't going to take my own life. I would never do that. very important for all the truth that I'm speaking in this video, if things transpire in the future from me speaking the fucking truth. But it literally, that I didn't even consider that my lowest low, even though that was peak despair. But the whole point is, when you're walking on your hero's journey, when you're going in your season of isolation, when you're on your quest, and think of any hero movie. Think of the fucking Lord of the Rings trilogy of Frodo, from when he was given the ring to all he had to endure to make it, to Mount Doom in Mordor, right? I know it's super nerdy, but humor me. Think of when Superman, had to like murder that guy, if you've seen Man of Steel. Or think of Batman when he was a child and his parents needed to die. Or later on in the Bane movie, The Dark Knight Rises, where he had to get his back broken and just rock bottom, throwing in a pit. He descended into a literal dungeon, right? People don't like to view life as the exact same thing as a hero story, but it is, right? Because what we love in the movies is we love the comeback story. Joe Rogan shares this. We love the guy who just he's like, what story I love? Is when everything goes to shit, the wife leaves you, you're, broken, you're broke, you're depressed, life just crumbles. You just goes to shit. And he fucking picks himself up, he dusts himself off, and he says, fuck this isn't going to be the end of my story, right? And he continues to have the courage to pursue, to try again, to persevere, right? To believe that he can make it. And the thing is, we don't advertise that, right? We hide that. We have some sort of shame about the failure portion, or about the loneliness portion, or about when everybody gives up on you. And that was the peak level of despair for me, is when no one gave like a single solitary fuck about me or my journey or anything that I was going through. And it's like, it's fascinating at your lowest, especially as a man, when you presently, due to these circumstances and conditions, presently no longer have value or of use to other people, how quickly you will be discarded. And it's a lesson that all men learn, and why accountability is so paramount for men and such a lost virtue for women. Because when men are of no value, of no use, you'll find very quickly how cold the world will be when you're not useful. And that's the fascinating part about the hero's journey as a man, is building your value, building your knowledge, building your skill to be very useful to so many people. And you'll find it's not about the goal, it's about the man that you become en route. Because the person that you become is able to give so much more to everybody else. The quote from Tony Robbins, life's not about what you get, it's about who you become and what you're able to give now that you've become more. But before you've become more, when you're at your rock bottom, when you're climbing your way up, it is the fucking most lonely path you will ever embark on in your entire life. Particularly if you go down the road of entrepreneurship. This battery's gonna die one sec. But the summary is, what if I told you it's happening for you, man? What if I told you the hardship, the struggle, the adversity, the heartbreak, the injury, the loss, the failure, the depression, the incredibly negative bank account or debt balance? Like, what if that was all part of the story? What if that was all part of the story? What if it was all part of the plan, right? What if the only reason you're the man that you are today, or the woman that you are today, is because of all the shit that you've endured and persevered through on the way, right? On your path, on your journey. Every person who's gone through hell, who chooses to be the hero, not the victim of their life, they always say a very similar sentiment. They say, I wouldn't have wished this on anyone, but I'm so glad that I went through it. I'm so much stronger because of what I endured, because of what I persevered through. The level of character, of work ethic, of perseverance, of heart, of will, of this never say die attitude, this passion, this conviction, this perspective and cognizance to not take my gift of a life for granted, the amount of strength that I have now, the amount of use that I have now and value to help other people who are going through the exact same thing. Like, I'm a beacon of hope and light and inspiration for these people. I feel so much more aligned with my vision, my purpose, my walk with God. It's just, my life is so much more joyous and fulfilling and filled with so much more pleasure and gratitude in the little things. And you don't get any of the character or any of the virtues if you don't go through the refinement. You know what I'm saying? If you don't go through the fire. I saw a good Instagram post before a lot of, terrible shit to me, ensued. And it said, you're gonna be forged or refined, but first comes the burning. right? Or you said you're going to rise from the ashes, but first comes the burning, and for that you'll need to be strong. And it's so true. But I'm just trying to tie it all to give you guys food for thought, for perspective, that the hero's journey that you're literally on, the day that you say enough and choose to transform and change your life, that's not a bad thing. All of the bad that you think that you're enduring, how far behind you are, that's not God. That's not God talking that you're behind or you're late. Dude, this is preparation. You know what I'm saying? God is preparing you so that you become the man or woman who is able to steward this. Do you understand? I can't trust you with this woman, with this means and resources, with these blessings, until I've put you through the fire, until I've refined you, until we've broken these limiting beliefs, right? Until we've shattered these fucking insecurities, these beliefs that aren't yours, these beliefs that were just tossed upon you since childhood, man. The ones that I've had to learn. I shared it in just a recent lecture that love isn't something you earn. That's something that I was literally conditioned to as part of my framework since childhood. A fear of abandonment. I was like, that's another one. Since childhood, since a 10-year-old had his, father leave him. And I'm just like, these are interesting patterns that are coming up later in life from events you had no fucking control over, that had nothing to do with you, And so understand that, dude, that the refinement isn't punishment. The delay from you getting what you want isn't punishment, right? Because if I was to give you what you want before you were ready, pretend I'm God, right? It wouldn't last. You wouldn't be ready for it. You would lose it. You wouldn't appreciate it. You're not ready to steward it, right? So what if I loved you so much that I'm going to wait to give it to you so that it lasts a fucking lifetime? That's what I think when I think of my wife, my future wife. That because union hasn't happened yet, because God isn't going to give me this gift that I'm not ready for. But then when I do have this gift, no, dude, we go the fucking distance. That's something Tarek keeps, appreciates, honors for the rest of his life. So imagine this, you're God, right? And you have the ultimate blessing, which for a guy, it is his spouse. It's his kingdom spouse. It's his wife. You can have that and have fucking nothing and be on cloud nine. And I believe that wholeheartedly with my conviction. Because I love you so much, I'm not going to give you something early that you're not ready for. And I think the person is the perfect example. Like if I gave you the woman, your dream woman, but you weren't ready for them, and so this would go through a breakup in a month or in a year, versus imagine the joy and ecstasy that you would otherwise feel if I just had you wait 1 year in the span of your 80 plus. Do you know what I'm saying? I've always thought about it because I always talk about master the art of timing. I always look at the big picture. I always zoom out. And people have such a warped perspective of life because they're so buried in the trees, they don't see the forest. People have such a shitty perspective on the time horizon. And I've always, leaned towards delayed gratification because I'm like, dude, if we just, put this off for a little bit, we get the ultimate prize, the ultimate cash out. So imagine the same thing with your partner. I've told God, I was like, dude, I'm happy to wait a little bit longer for a lifetime. For a lifetime of joy, of ecstasy, of pleasure, of euphoria, of love, of support, of adoration, admiration, mutual watering. A lifetime of that, and all I have to do is wait 12 more months or 18 more months or whatever the fuck. Dude, sign me up, man. Versus today, people settle for connection. And I've made that conviction so explicitly with God. I said, the next woman that I want to lie with, that I want to be with, that I want to date, dude, I want that to be my person. And it's so beautiful when you've made that commitment. And this law highlights it, dude. You're going to be met with fucking distraction after test, after, lust trap, after all this garbage. And you're just like, I remember in 2022, the quote that rang so through my head was, are my actions consistent with what I say I want? And I've been tested and given almost the promise where this person checked off like all my boxes. And I said, but they're not my person. And I saw a great video that said, God does not give almost promises. And I was like, then this is just another fucking test. And I knew it was a test because of how hard it was to say no to this person, to say no to sleeping with them, to continue seeing them. I said, so long as I entertain what's not for me, I perpetuate ever receiving what is. So I said to God, I said, I'm going to prove to you my actions are consistent with what I say I want. So does that, any of that make sense, man? The difference between God's voice and the enemy's. So God will never talk like the enemy talks. You're not late, right? You're not behind. The hardship and struggle that you're going through, just pretend it's a video game, dude. It's your hero's journey, right? Don't view it as a fucking negative. Don't view it as the pit of despair that you might feel like you're in, or the depression that's looming, or the not wanting to play the video game any longer. Those thoughts, all part of the story, man. It's going to make a fucking badass story. It's going to make a survival guide for another person one day. It's going to be the only story that you are so proud to read at time's end. Why? Because it's the one where you went for it. It's the one that you didn't give up. It's the one that you continue to try again, right? Nobody ever, they feel shame to fucking open the book and read the chapter, and it's a single fucking chapter that ends with, and I quit. And there's 100 extra pages that are all blank. No one, they're terrified to open that fucking book to see that truth. That's how men, I'm using men, but you can apply this to women, lead quiet lives of desperation, because they know they gave up. They know they fabricated a fucking excuse, right? A needless obstacle, right? And they put the blame on somebody else and allocated, therefore, we talked about this in the previous law, the salvation outside of themselves, right? Because I'm not the problem, therefore I can't be the solution. Let me allocate all my power away. Bullshit, right? Just so you can justify and rationalize why it's okay that you quit, that you gave up. My anchor has always been, how the fuck do I look at my wife in the eyes and explain that? How do I look at my kids in the eyes and expect anything from them when I gave up, when I quit, right? And I'm expecting them to show me courage, to enact the courage to pursue bravery, right? When I stand the coward, I said, I will die before I live a life of hypocrisy, of something that I'm preaching and insisting, but something that I'm choosing not to live. That's absolute bullshit. So that's just my stance. And so it's so beautiful when you actually have the courage to embark on your hero's journey. Understand that you will be given help along the way. Opportunities will arise. Everything that you're going through, no, not punishment. No, not setback. Set up, preparation, forging you, refining you, making you stronger, making you more patient, increasing your faith, all of these things. So I want you to go through your life with this new lens now, that every time I think, oh, I'm in a rush, oh, I'm late, oh, I'm behind, that's the fucking enemy talking. That's the enemy distracting you. That's the enemy planting doubt and fear and hesitation into you, because they don't want you to win. They don't want you to unite with your kingdom spouse. That's the most terrifying thing for them. They don't want the person who's that warrior for God, who aligns with God, right? Because that's how you defeat that motherfucker. That's how you bring so much more light to and illuminate the path for countless other people, right? By your courage, by your faith. So they want to attack that because they don't want to see that realized, because of how threatening that is to them, to their existence, to their way of life. We could be that guy, dude. We could be those angels for the other people. We could be the heroes for ourselves, right? I saw a good quote that said, dude, God is proud of you. Imagine that. Imagine God is right here and he says that to you. I am proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. Like, I have to use the imagery of that fucking tiny turtle. He's like, did you see that? Did you see that? Way to go, Squirt. I think it's from Finding Nemo. It's like the big turtle, little turtle. He's like, noggin, or whatever. But that's how I imagine God, talking to me. I don't know. I love it so much. So I hope any of that makes sense. We're moving on. Calm, unrush. Also, the gift you give yourself is clarity. I like to use the analogy that if you are stressed and worried and anxious, your mind, if it's a body of water, it's as if you throw a ton of fucking pebbles in it, and therefore you can't see with any sort of clarity. Think of that as you trying to find a solution to your problem. That's weird. I can't find any. Why? Because you're stressed, because you're worried, because you're rushed. You're not calm. In order for this to calm, for this to become clear, it requires you to relax. Breathe, right? When your mind is uncluttered, you will see further and be able to spot and resist the baits and traps that people, and then I put in parentheses the enemy, place in front of you. And I put perma distractions. Go to fucking open Instagram. Open Instagram, go to your explore page and see all of the fucking idiots. See all of the clowns, see all of the jesters, see all of the production. Show me the ones that it's just love. And it's just people trying and people failing and trying again, right? No, what you're gonna find are clowns and promiscuous prostitutes and fucking idiots and people just and that's all there is on there, dude. It's just one idiot fanning another. It's the enemy implores people to keep you asleep. And the beauty about these lectures is you can feel the presence, man. My mind isn't elsewhere. It's right fucking here, right? It's in these notes. It's in this video. I'm not thinking about anything else or doing anything else right now. You don't get that within social media because it's the most magical thing when you see someone who's present, right? Those real authentic videos, they're as rare as rubies. What you see is all fabricated production content garbage. It's a distraction to keep you distracted, right? Because think of this. Rather than you being focused right now on your personal development, on your relationship with God, on you not chasing or pursuing or anything to a woman, but you choosing to become the right man or the right woman, and leveling up your fitness, getting in the best shape of your life, leveling up your intelligence, right? You're reading, maybe you're journaling, so you're healing, like you're meditating or going on walks with God. Like instead of you leveling up in every single category, or financially, what are you doing? What are you spending your time doing? Scrolling. Video games, porn, dating apps, garbage. Radio, news, celebrities, drama, gossip, trash. It is all just a distraction to keep you asleep. Because if you're awake, how powerful would you be? Fuck, would you be a force to be reckoned with, man? If you were awake, if you were harnessing your divinity, right? If you were closing the gap of your potential, if you were becoming the man or woman you could be, how fucking terrifying of an opponent that would be. When you got out of bed in the morning, that's the devil saying, oh shit, he or she's awake. You could be that person, but you're going to be attacked all the time by all these fucking distractions, man. They're just traps. I had to learn it from Andrew Tate, dude, the festival trap. I loved it, man, when I was younger. And don't get me wrong, I still have that longing for music and ecstasy and just connection and just, oh my God, it's a trance. I love it so much. But every time I watch one of those videos of those fucking idiots with their hands in the air, I say, I don't want to be like any of you. I don't want to go to something to escape my shitty life. I want to create a life where I don't need an escape from. And so I'm happy to forfeit this instant gratification, this temporary dopamine hit, this pleasure, for a lifetime of freedom. Fuck this distraction. This is garbage, right? Distracting me from my path, from God's will. So, does any of that make sense? That's how you get clarity, dude. Clarity. I've had to delete Instagram. I've had to delete it if I was on a dating app. All this garbage that is flooding my fucking dopamine receptors when I can't concentrate, when I can't read, when I can't sit still, when I feel I'm so stimulated. And I'm just like, you're chemically fucking broken. It's poison that they're illegally allowed to give to the fucking masses. If you knew how detrimental it was, man, it would be illegal what they're able to do. The anxiety, the stress, how it affects your sleep, your hormones, your, mental health with all of this comparison garbage. Don't get me wrong, it can be a tool for amazing opportunities. But what do you think it's being utilized the majority for? To fucking keep you numb, stupid, distracted, docile, as a slave. As a slave. Forever. For as long as they possibly can, right? The way to escape is to turn it off. It's the fucking phone, man. It's to get off the social media, to stop the traps of scrolling, to just be, to slow down, right? To be present, to relax, to take a day from the stimulation, to correct your chemical imbalances, where you actually feel a dopamine hit from feeling the breeze on your face, the sun on your skin, right? The genuineness of a conversation. You can't feel appreciation or gratitude or joy in the little things of life. You've lost that ecstasy and the pleasure in those things from this flood of garbage. And so how healthy is it of a reminder that we need a fucking detox, man, to get off this garbage, to stop consuming. I work, I consume, I die. Repeat. Next slave. Work, consume, die. Next. That's all you are to these people, dude. You're fucking cattle to be used to take your attention, to take your money, to take your hope, to take your dreams, and keep you to conform, to fight amongst each other forever, to keep you permanently distracted while we continue to use you and create new slaves. Fuck, what do you think we're doing with education? What do you think the education system is? It's indoctrination. Literally, I saw this by Iman Gadzhi, that modern day schooling, the chairs, the uniform, the testing, all this, it's literally how they made workers back then. That's all it is. It's the same fucking thing to keep people afraid. It conditions fear. We learned this in Rich Dad Poor Dad. When you make a mistake in school, you're punished for it. You're reprimanded for it. So that when you go outside in the real world, you're afraid to try. How convenient. So now we can control the masses because we're going to condition so much fear in them that they're afraid to try and fail. Because we've, like a fucking Pavlov dog, we've conditioned you to be afraid of what's to come. Should you fuck up? Should you make a mistake? That's how you learn. They don't teach you that in school. They don't teach you that by me collaborating with other people. That's called networking. No, in school, that's cheating. Do you see how they brand it? It's garbage. It's to get you as a feared, afraid slave. So you go the path of the 40 fucking year rat life job, and they sell you on the vacation. No, once your student loans are paid off. No, once your mortgage is paid off. No, once you hit your 62 and a half, whatever, 59 for your CalPERS or your pension or your whatever to kick in. No, then you'll be free. They sell you on 40 fucking years of slavery for 5 years of freedom. When your youth is gone, when your vitality is gone, when your passion is gone, when the window of opportunity for you to realize your dreams is fucking eradicated. That's the vacation that they sell you on. That's what we all buy into. Bullshit. Garbage. A distraction. A 40-year fucking distraction, right? Quite successful what they're able to do. How they're able to control the masses. To sell you on a worthless piece of paper. To sell you on a worthless degree. To sell you on a home you don't even fucking own. Food for thought, man. So relax. Relax. See through all the bullshit. Dude, be like me. Be awake. Right? Wake up. Wake up. We're all trying to walk each other home. That's the whole game. We're all trying to wake each other up. Imagine this. Imagine you're in a fucking dream state right now. You're lulled and you're numb to the dopamine flood, to the garbage, to the distractions. And then a loving friend comes along and says, hey buddy, wake up, wake up. You remember those dreams? You remember that your mom that you're trying to retire? Remember the dream life, the freedom that we're going after? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot. No, it's fine, right? They've set up the game so it's almost fucking impossible to remember what you're doing, why you're here, where you're trying to go. They want you to be perpetually distracted to forget that. Let me give you a little comfort. Let me give you the apartment, maybe some nice clothes, maybe a tiny bit of spending money so you're comfortable enough to forfeit anything else, any greater purpose or passion. That's what they want. They want you to be a slave until you die, man. That's the fucking rat life trap. Wake up. Wake up. I put Instagram video on perpetual lust auto algorithm, 100%. Next. Success that is built slowly, it's a quote from the book, and surely is the only kind that lasts. Slowly and surely. The quote that I finished this lecture with is, let patience have her perfect work. It's a quote from the book Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. I'm so glad it was one of the first books at the university. Let patience have her perfect work. Success that is built slowly and surely is the only kind that lasts. And I put that applies to your business, brick by brick, a proper foundation. Same thing you can apply to your relationships, right? Easy come, easy go, right? But my grandparents married for 62 years. They went through something together, so they grew through something together. You go through it, you grow through it, right? Through thick and thin, through the hard times, right? Today, in the instant gratification culture, it's on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. Why should I stick it out with you when I can just go on to the next person and go through the new honeymoon phase and go through all these new experiences, right? That's how relationships don't fucking last. There's no growth there together because you're not going through any problems or struggles or adversities to then overcome and persevere through together. And your physique. People buying the weight loss shit and, you know, getting all the surgery and all this garbage and just trying to buy and do all these corner cuts and fabrications to get out of the work. And so they'll do the keto diets and they'll lose 100 pounds in 30 days and then balloon the fuck back up. Set it up to where you're in it for a lifetime, dude. Do it to last. Your body, your woman, your passion, your entrepreneurial vision, purpose, right? Like it's a car, a beautiful car that you're really trying to take care of, dude. Forever, right? Built to last because you take care of it. Crazy concept. I put slow down and I put my towering. So to give you an idea of the pain that I was feeling right here to start, I thought about this today and I saw a really good video of that. Before your life gets incredible, gets amazing, your old life, it's a towering effect. Imagine like a tower imploding and crumbling. And so I was like, we've been kind of getting fucking wrecked lately. So had the excruciating pain in my teeth, went to the dentist. They're like, you know, we need to extract 2 teeth. We need to do a root canal here. After what my insurance covers, it's going to cost me $2,600. So I was like, that's fantastic. So I said, okay, so there's that. I go to my car to drive to the gym today, and I noticed a bump when I was backing up. And I had a light on my car that said, you know, tire pressure low, you know, you need to fill it up. But I had filled it up just 3 days ago in my top left tire. There's like a tiny little hole in it. And so that got moved away and it came back on. But then last time I drove it was like 52 degrees outside. So I said, is it just cold again? And so I ignored it yesterday. But then I go and my back right tire this morning, complete flat. Not like a little bit and I could drive to the gas station. Like, no, my brother's gonna need to come out here and help me change the tire. I know real men should know how to change a tire. I know how to do it with the equipment. He showed it to me once. There's a part where you put a jack underneath right by the tires, each of them. There's this flat part, and then all you do is sort of crank it, and then it elevates it, and then you can unscrew the bolts and take it off. I know how to do it. I don't have a tire, and I don't have the tools and all this. And luckily, my amazing brother is a master technician. He's a master auto mechanic, and so why deprive him of the joy of helping his little brother do it? That's my sales pitch. But so I have a flat tire that needs to be taken care of, and then I went to the gym today. Right after I finished my deadlifts, I herniated a disc in my lower back from the rows that I was doing. And so I said, okay, and then I had to cut the workout early because my lower back is shot now. So I said, our teeth just are in excruciating pain, my car, flat tire, my back, lower back, my disc is now herniated. And so my posture right now, I haven't said anything, but that's another thing that I'm combating, you know, is trying to avoid that pain in my lower back from, you know, neglect with my posture right now. And so I was looking at all these things, and I was like, these are starting to add up, man. And on my walk all the way home, I said to the enemy, and then indirectly to God, I said, I'm not going to let any of this allow me to scorn God ever, if this is the fucking test for that. I said, I told the enemy, I said, this isn't enough. I said, you're gonna have to do a better job than that, buddy. I said, you're gonna have to do more than that for me to say, oh, why God me for this? And don't get me wrong, I said, please God, make this pain stop for the excruciating teeth pain. That one I couldn't tolerate. And I said, like, literally, I pleaded with God to make that stop, which right now it feels a little bit better. But between the tire, between the lower back getting wrecked, it was starting to add up, man. And I said, you know what? It's not enough. It's not enough to break me. I said, Tarek Houks does not give up ever. I don't give a fuck what roadblocks, what adversity, what struggle, what hardships. I said, fucking the quote from Alexander Dumas in The Count of Monte Cristo. Life is a storm, my young friend. You will bask in the sunlight one moment, be shattered on the rocks the next. What makes you a man is what you do when that storm comes. You must look into that storm and shout as you did in Rome, do your worst, for I will do mine. That's exactly how I felt today. I said, do your worst, man. It is not enough. It's not enough to break me. You're going to have to there's a quote from Elon Musk, like, I'll have to be dead or incapacitated to give up. I feel the same way. So I said, I have to just assume, God, that this is just the calm before the storm. This is just the towering effect of life crumbling before the blessing, before the level up, right? So, and I really believe that. I believe my season of isolation from my hero's journey is coming to an end. I believe that everything that I'm enduring right now through the investigations, things going on with work, I believe that my victory is going to be announced very soon. And even if that victory looks like me getting fired, being free, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. And I know that I have God on my side with what I'm doing, because I'm aligning with truth, and I'm aligning with God, and I'm aligning with doing what's right, having the courage to speak up against bullies, against motherfuckers who harass you, who bully you, who manipulate you, who gaslight you. And so I said, there's no world where the enemy wins on this one. I said, not with God, not with my angels on my side. But it's just fascinating when you're on your hero's journey, dude, you're going to be enduring all this. Your life is just going to feel like Murphy's Law, where everything is going to shit, and you're just like, well, what's fucking happening right now? But it's just preparation, man. It's just, I said, God, how much stronger do I fucking have to be, man? Like, how much can I continue to, and that's why I was like, I'm not trying to commit hubris here. Like, I know that I can be fucking broken more, and then I can become stronger. I told God today, I said, I don't want to be any stronger, man. I said, I want to be done with the tests. I want to be done with the preparation. I don't want any more of these fucking trials to overcome, to endure, to persevere through. Like I said, I'm so over it. And I said that to God today. I said, I'm so over this. I said, I'm so ready for a temporary life of ease. Do you know what I'm saying? And I said, that's not me not harboring gratitude for the blessings that I have right now. I said, but I'm so over this level of life, right? Of surviving, of battling these fucking demons, of, you know, my lower back being wrecked, or of, you know, my car needing to replace a tire, my fucking teeth being in excruciating pain. I said, fuck all this, man. But you just don't give up. That's the whole moral of the story. It's just don't give up. But that's the towering effect, if that makes sense. So when life feels like it's crumbling, it's typically, imagine the tide of an ocean getting pulled in, right, before the crashing of the wave. And the wave isn't a negative thing. Think of that as going to the next level. Think of that as your next blessing to come in, right? What if I need to get through this heartbreak or through this wreck to get the love of my life, right? What if I need to go through this failure or this for direction, for freedom forever? You know, what if this looks like me getting fired, if that is the ending scenario to this, in order for me to be free for a lifetime, right? Would you be complaining, you know, when you got everything that you said that you wanted, and then this was the price to pay? Don't think so, right? But because we're so buried in the trees that we can't see the forest, or because we're trying to lean on our own understanding when we're given a single puzzle piece and God has the entire picture, right? And we're so impatient, all the things from this law, when he's holding a lantern right here, and all you have to worry about is taking the next step, and the next step, and the next step. Doesn't matter how far astray you feel or how lost or behind you feel, right? Focus on your race. Try to slow and calm things down. Tune into God's voice. It's never you're behind. It's never you're late. It's never you need to hurry up. That's never the way he talks. Relax. Calm down. Breathe. Stay with me. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Got it? Okay. The power of making people wait. So I put, when God makes you wait, what are you building? He's giving you patience, right? Especially when he makes you wait longer than you wanted to for whatever it is that you want. And I think about the union with me and my kingdom spouse, right? From him making me wait longer than I've wanted, you know, to receive that. It's just, what is it doing? It's building my patience, and building my patience, even though that's never been a strong virtue of mine. And God is like, I'm going to fucking make it a strong virtue of yours if it's the last thing I do. And I'm like, all right, God, we're patient. You know, awesome. But then I put dating and I put game. And I put game in quotation marks. Because what happens is how you can utilize this law of master the art of timing. What happens if you're a woman or if you're a guy and you don't respond to a text right away? You don't respond right away. And you make somebody wait for your reply. And I don't like this. One of my favorite people that I've ever met in my entire life, they would respond instantly to my text messages. Love that person, right? Fucking hate the motherfucker that takes a month to reply to me, or leaves me unseen. I loathe entirely. There's nothing I despise more than being left unseen. I hate the disrespect. I hate the lack of respect for me or for my time. But when somebody doesn't reply immediately, what do? You reread the text that you sent And then you iterate, and then you introspect, and then you say, well, how did they, receive this, or did I mean this, or should I have said this? All of that. I've literally trained a client one time, and the sister of my client, and the sister said something I fucking hated. I said, that's not a class act woman. She said, I purposefully don't reply to guys right away because I like to see them squirm and second guess what they said and become unsure of themselves. It literally, like the girl I told you who, had married a cuck, that's literally how you set up the framework for a foundation of a horrific relationship, where you make the guy feel insecure, unsure about himself, unconfident in what he says. And that's her little game. Because at the end of the day, that's why I put dating game. Like game as in, the game when it comes to pickup. No, game as in bullshit. As in, it's a game to these toxic motherfuckers, man. It's just, I swear to God, they get off on the manipulation. They get off on seeing how far they can disrespect a guy. And those same women are surprised when they're in their mid-30s, late 30s. This woman was in her mid-40s or late 40s. And they're surprised why they're single. They're surprised why they're single with no children. It's because they're doing this fucking garbage well into their adulthood. And it's just, I see the ones who do this, and one of my coworkers, perfect example of this, where the fun that they're getting is literally encouragement from the enemy at the detriment of the peace and happiness and ecstasy that they otherwise could receiving if they didn't do this garbage. As in, what do you think is the destiny of a woman who treats his man like a cuck and literally parades him around and sees how much disrespect that she can implore on him, right? Do you think that ends with a fulfilling marriage and happiness and joy and ecstasy when the framework from the start, the foundation was set with this garbage precedent? No, right? And so it always has baffled my mind, the short-mindedness of people's perspective, of people's lens on their time horizon, right? It's just like, when the fuck are you going to stop doing this garbage in these games, right? And you see it with toxic motherfuckers all the time, where I swear to God, it's a game to them. I can prove it. I was with this Brazilian girl who I called her out on all the bullshit that I knew she was doing, that I just chose to, disregard, not tolerate, or to tolerate just because, to be honest, before it dawned on me, I thought she didn't know any better. I thought there was a language gap. But then I was said, Tarek, I think this person's not the angel that you think she is, because I choose to give people the benefit of the doubt, view them with the lens of love. I said, I think she's doing all this on purpose, and I think that she enjoys it. And I swear to God, when I called her out on all of it, the look of happiness and joy and thrill that she communicated back to me with her expression, it was as if she had an orgasm. And I said, what a sick, toxic fuck you are, where everything that you do to guys is just a game to you. And you wonder why you have complete omission of love or respect or genuine friendship or any of that shit in your life. It's wild, 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 wild. But that is the casualty of the modern woman, right? From buying into all of the modern degeneracy and promiscuity and boss babe culture and garbage. I saw a great post yesterday where it said how to be a godly husband and a godly wife, right? Founded on respect, founded on submission and servitude and honoring one another. And that's a lost sentiment, dude, in today's modern dating world. It's just smut and trash and garbage. And what a good quote from the Bible, that if you find a wife rarer than rubies, man, rarer than rubies. And it's so true. And I saw a great post, and this is for any woman who might be watching this, that you don't become a wife, you are a wife before you are one. And it's the same thing with being a husband. Like, you're a husband by the way that you act, by the way that you carry yourself, by the actions and behaviors that you tolerate or don't, well before you get a ring. You know what I'm saying? And it's so evident to see which woman, and guys, every guy can speak to this. They have the test where they put the person into a long relationship timeline category, or you're just a hoe to sleep with. You're just, all you're selling and communicating to me is you're just someone to be physically interacted with, right? And so women and how they carry themselves, the ones who carry themselves as wives, oh my God, they don't have to say anything, and it shouts that. Based on their character, based on their modesty, based on their dignity, their self-respect, their courtesy, their kindness, their heart. And yeah, so remember that. You are a wife before you're married, right? If you want to be a wife, act like one before becoming one, and then you will become one, right? I saw a good quote on the audio that I was listening to all the way to help my brother give him a lift off at the gym the other day. And she was talking about how you're trying to magnetize and attract a relationship. People are in this desperate, chaser energy. She's like, you need to walk around with the air that you're taking, right? People will look at you differently. They'll perceive you as someone who is spoken for. And she said, when you walk around like that, absent, constantly scanning the room, absent this, shouting, even if you're not saying anything, desperation, but you're somebody who it appears that, they must be spoken for. She said, before you know it, you will be. You will be. So if you act like a wife beforehand, you will be one. If you act like a husband beforehand, you'll be one, right? Food for thought, man. But that's what I put in terms of dating, the game when you delay a response to somebody. Introspection, and then I put it also gives a perception of value via scarcity. So if I don't reply to a text right away, or if I've conditioned the relationship to where you only get a reply from me once a month or once every 3 months, then my attention has more value to you versus if I'm the guy that you can get a message from every single minute of every single day. And so it's perceived heightened respect due to also unpredictability, as in a lot of women take the guy for granted, and then respect goes down if I know it's going to be a given that you're going to respond to me every minute, every day at this time, right? When it comes to the courting process. However, that's not how you develop trust. I learned this from Alex Hormozy. Trust is equal to predictability. If I trust you, I have a high degree of predictability that you're going to do this and this and this. You're going to be very loyal. You're going to respond here. You're going to check in here. You're going to call me on your way home, etc. I think in real relationships, not when you're doing all these bullshit, schemes and manipulations and game garbage, that you don't have to do any of that shit. You don't have to, create value through scarcity. It's like, what if you could reply instantly to somebody? What if you're on your phone, you get the notification, you reply immediately? What a fucking concept. What a crazy thing, right? And you don't have to do all this bullshit and all these games, and you can make your partner feel so confident, right? So funny, so respected, their time so valuable. You're responding, when it's appropriate with fucking paragraph messages, right? Not K, IDK, cool, one word fucking answers. Not that that's what I'm getting from people right now, but that is something that in the past that they call them dry texts or just, but when you're in the courting process, you're understanding that, or it shouldn't escape you that the person that you're talking to is talking to 100 people. You know what I'm saying? You're a pebble in an ocean of, particularly if you're, talking to, younger women, or even kind of any bracket of women. There's 100 guys that are trying to get just laid from this person. Do you know what I'm saying? And so women are flooded all the time with attention, with messages, with likes, with validation. And so the lack of gratitude and appreciation for genuineness, or for people who actually care, or for effort, dude, it's such a lost art in today's world. And it goes for guys or girls. I'm talking about girls because I don't fucking date guys. You know what I'm saying? But it's such effort is so lost, right? Effort, dude, putting effort into courting. I miss that so much, man. I miss the courting process where you dress up sharp and you're buying flowers and you're writing handwritten notes or poems or doing poetry, or just putting effort into the date itself. Like, dude, I've recreated like Disney movies and just whatever it is to make somebody feel so special, to make a night feel so fucking magical, right? It's just, people don't do that shit today. People don't put in effort. People don't have class. People don't have courtesy or etiquette. And just the gratitude, the presence, it's just all lost magic and beauty and art. And yeah, so hopefully that changes, man. Hopefully that goes back in style one day in the future. But do you see the power in timing, the power in not replying immediately, and how you're able to make a person feel unsure about themselves, or second guess themselves, or double text themselves, or how you can be on the other end of a person's manipulation and toxicity from you entertaining that game? And so the power with you is when you catch that, because it's all about pattern recognition, you don't reply to it. You don't entertain it. You don't hook onto that fucking bait. If somebody treats you distantly or dry, or makes you feel hard to love, or feels comfortable with taking 24 hours to respond to you, if they're comfortable treating you like an option, right? You leave them like they're one. Do you understand? That's the precedent that you set. It's like, no, if you're going to treat me like an option, I will fucking leave you and be gone with you immediately. I have no interest in that. That's the precedent that you need to set. And then if you do that enough times, over time, people come to you fucking correct, right? They don't waste your time. They know you're not about any of that bullshit, right? You're not a man who tolerates that kind of shit. Therefore, you'll be viewed in the lens of respect from the disrespect you no longer and refuse to tolerate. Okay. So that's how you manipulate time. Another way to manipulate time is to give yourself a deadline. So that's how you give your day urgency and value. Because if I say that I'm going to get shredded by this day, all of a sudden this day has value. Because I can't push today's responsibilities and obligations and diet and things into the next day, right? Because then I just lost one of those days of this day that's fixed, doesn't move. So that's why I always do like a trip or a graduation or a bodybuilding competition or something that is going to commit me to putting in the work on a daily basis and showing up on the days that I don't want to. That is another way how you can manipulate and become a master of time. And do you see the power in that? By giving yourself a deadline, this day, this day, this day, they all have value. Each one of these is 1/90th, say it's a 90-day thing, 1/90th of the opportunity for you to become the man or woman that you can be. And when you fuck this off, you just lost 1/90th of that opportunity. That's a quote from Greg Plitt. But you see how that's how you're able to manipulate and master time. Okay. And then it forces urgency and value for the day, for a project, and then it's also a way that you can create urgency for a sale, right? So if you say that, oh, you get 25% off, but you have to buy it in the next 2 days, oh, here's my money, right? It's an illusion of a discount because you make up the fucking prices. But the business doesn't tell you that. But you're creating urgency out of thin air, right? It's all illusion. Time is a construct, man. But it's very, very true. So that's another way that you can manipulate time, especially when you're in product or service, when you're in a business, when you're doing your entrepreneurship. Let me just fabricate a deadline and put a buy one, get one free sale or any fucking manipulation that you want here. I learned this from Simon Sinek and Start With Why. He said you need to be very careful about doing those kind of manipulations because then you'll set the precedent of your business that you always have to do a scheme or a manipulation or a discount to get a sale. I fell into that trap with Rat Life, and necessity honestly demanded it. Like I had to pay rent, and so I always had to come up with a buy one get one free or buy two get one free or let me give you free coaching or personal training on top of this. I had to do so many schemes and manipulations, and there's a benefit to it in the sense of you discover how resourceful you become when necessity demands it. It's a beautiful skill that you harness and cultivate as an entrepreneur, but then the value and your why gets degraded in the process to the point where people will literally forego purchasing because they know, oh, I'll just wait until the next discount or the next sale. And so that's when you find yourself in the fucking clearance rack because you've forgotten your value, you've lost your why, right? The why of escaping the rat life, of making it, of freedom, all of that goes to the fucking wayside for what has now become a commodity. So the way you put yourself back on the clearance, from the clearance rack, behind the glass, in the showroom, right? That, dream, fast car, supercar, whatever, is you be like Apple. When have you seen a discount on a new iPhone? Huh? Never. I've never seen buy one, get two free or 30% off. No. Full retail price, premium, always. And I understand, phone plan or this or upgrade. I'm not talking about any of that shit. I'm talking about here's a new product. When the fuck have you seen this, the iPhone 16 Pro Max? Oh, let me get a buy one, get one free. Oh, let me get a 70% off, a 30% off. Let me get a Black Friday iPhone deal. It's full price always. Always. And yet people buy it. Yet $1 trillion company, right? Perception of value. Do you see? So that's how you can do it and scheme and manipulate with creating urgency, right? By fabricating the illusion that you're running out of time. You're running out of time. Newsflash, if you've ever been in business, they always have these sales. I went to Choose Fitness, which is the gym that is right down the street here, because they had a promotion, $1, or it was free, I think. I don't even know if I paid anything for it because I wanted to check it out, try it out for like a week. And oh no, I won't be able to get such a deal again, right? 0 enrollment, this. I get text messages from them fucking every month with a new scheme, right? Oh, the last one was $1, no enrollment fee, 30 days free. You know what I'm saying? It's the enemy that's talking that says, oh no, you better hurry. Oh no, you better rush. Oh no, it's gonna sell out soon. Garbage, right? Because they can sell you on FOMO. They can sell you on fear of, oh no, I'm gonna miss out. That's not God's voice. God never says FOMO. God never says hurry. Never says you better do that. Don't get me wrong. God says here's an opportunity. You can choose not to take it, right? Different. Because God doesn't reward cowardice, right? He rewards the man who has the courage to step into the arena. Quite different. I'm not talking about paralysis by fucking analysis. I'm talking about the person who feels rushed. Oh no, I'm gonna miss out. Oh no, I'm late. I'm behind. It's not how God talks. You're fine. Relax, sweetheart. Calm down. Breathe. Okay. You can play the you can play the game with the utmost artistry by playing the long game. So that's another way that you can master time is zoom out. Stop being so buried in the trees that you can't see the forest, right? You have one puzzle piece. God has the whole picture. Relax, calm down, just focus on taking the next step. Let patience have her perfect work. Beautiful quote from the Acres of Diamond book by Russell Conwell. I love that quote. Let patience have her perfect work. Focus on this day, the 24 hours that Kobe Bryant talks about. Do your best and for the day. And when I goal set right now, I have my big goals and everything that I want to achieve. And so I have the map that I want to do. But every day, day before, day of, I look at what do I have to do today? And that's all your responsibility is. Because this is all that's promised to you, is the fucking day. I get 24 hours. God has gifted me this day, the present. He's gifted me the now. I'm not going to not take advantage of this. I'm not going to dishonor God, right? That's a gift. And it's also stress alleviation, where you're not anxious, worried, concerned about the future of shit you cannot control, of what might happen. A coward dies 1,000 deaths. Worry. Not fixated on the fucking past, right? Regret, upset, disappointment, depressed, garbage. I'm here now. What can I do today? Past mistakes, past failures, lessons, right? I'm not going to use this baton to beat myself to death with it. I'm not going to berate or fixate on the fucking past. It's gone. Move on. Let it go. Let them go. Okay. Let patience have her perfect work. Commit that to memory. Let patience have her perfect work. I'm going to lay a beautiful brick as perfectly as I can, one at a time. And then before I know it, I'm going to have a whole wall. I'm going to have a beautiful garden. I'm planting one fucking flower, one seed, beautifully. Beautiful soil, beautiful water, beautiful sunshine, right? Beautiful nourishment in my mental, physical, relational, spiritual garden. Let me prune the fucking weeds. Let me cut out the vices that don't serve me. Let me prune. Let me eradicate the pesticides and the disease and the cancers and the unlucky and the depressed and the negative. Get the fuck out of here. Beautiful garden. You support me, encourage me, you invite the word yes, or you get the fuck out. You do not belong here. There's no doubt. There's no fear. There's no hurry up. There's no you're late. Fuck off. You're not the voice of God. You're not the voice of a friend. You're the enemy, right? Or you're enslaved by the enemy. And you're literally one of his puppeteers. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. Wake up. You're asleep. You've forfeited your goals and your dreams and your ambitions. Don't sell me that fucking bill of goods. Don't try to convince me to have fear and doubt and to give up and to worry and be careful. Get the fuck out of here. I will never tell my children that mantra. Be careful. Worry about this. Be dangerous. Dare. Try. Fail. Try again. Be the hero, dude, not the fucking victim of your story. The one who gives up, the one who quits, the one who has 100 fucking pages that they could write, but then they end their story on, and I gave up and I quit. The end. Not my fucking children. Not a chance. And therefore, not Targ Hawks. Next. At some point, patience, and I put preparation, God preparing you, the refinement, right? Has to give way towards ruthless execution. You can't war game it all your life. That's not patience, that's fear procrastination. And it's very true. As in, they put the biggest caveat in this, that in terms of playing the end game, mastering the art of time by playing that long game, he said it's only patience being executed when it ends with action. Because otherwise you're just fucking standing idle doing nothing, right? Watching everything transpire, never actually executing. That's not playing the long game. That's not mastering time and being the master of that power, of the art, of timing, of playing the long game, right? If there's no action at the end of it. If you go through all this preparation, you go through law school and you pass the bar, or no, you go through law school and fail the bar. You don't, that's an analogy. But then you can't practice law. And so all of the fucking preparation you did was you didn't utilize any of it. I was able to wrap it around and bring it home there. Does that make sense? So the preparation, all the refinement, all the work that you're going through behind the scenes as God is building you, if you don't put that into fucking practice, if you don't step into the arena at some point, all of that was for nothing. Oh, no, I'm one of God's strongest warriors. With my words, without fucking action, you're not battle tested. You haven't been through the fucking fire and persevered through it and then actually enacted all of the lessons that you were taught. That's fear. That's procrastination. That's a fucking spectator of life, right? You're not that guy. You're not that woman. So understand that the patience is only in the finality of execution, of action, right? Otherwise, you're just a wargaming coward, spectator, peasant of life. Okay. To finish, last one. Run your own race when you finally commit to stepping into the arena. That's the most important thing to remember from this law, in my opinion, is the alignment with God and his timing and his pace. And not being distracted by another motherfucker, dude. I'm 29, right? I don't own a home. I'm not married. I don't have children. There's a quote by Heath Ledger, if you know him, who took his own life after the Dark Knight movie. And he said, people always ask you if you're married, if you own a home, if you have a career, as if life was some kind of grocery list. But no one ever asks you if you're happy. And how true is that? How long, or how often do we go about our day fixated on what everyone else is fucking doing, on how far and progressed everyone else is in their life? And I've had that walk with God, man. I've said, conceptually, it feels like I'm so behind from other people, where other people all have their, their mortgages, and they have their person, and, they have whatever in their savings or their Roth IRA or their bank account or the debt that they don't have. And I said, God, I feel like I'm the most behind in all these, physical aspects, all of these, tangible things in my 3D reality. I said, but I feel like I'm so far ahead of almost anyone, any single person that I know spiritually, like on my journey of enlightenment, on a hero's journey, on all these things. I said, but that's not like a tangible thing. It's not, And then I'll find myself having those conversations that what if I'm not behind? Even though I don't have the circumstances or conditions to sort of prove it or to substantiate it or to get validation or recognition from other people. And then I said, and what has given me sort of solace is the quote that if you do the work others won't, one day you'll live a life others can't. And I said, I don't think, and I've told this to God, I don't think anybody's doing the inner work like I've done. I don't think people have shattered as many limiting beliefs that I've shattered, or who have healed as much as I've healed, or who has been through a hero's journey. I don't know a single guy who's been through the severity of the hero's journey that I've walked and that I've been subject to. And I said, God, I don't believe that you would have me on such a journey riddled with so much adversity and hardship and heartache and fucking, taken to the edge of death, if I didn't have such a great purpose to serve, to fulfill in my destiny, in my story, right? In my fate's design, in the thread that Marcus Aurelius talks about in terms of how the fates wove, your destiny, how it's all written. And so that's how I'm able to escape from the rhetoric of I'm behind or I'm late or, I'm less than from all these other people who maybe I went to school with them or maybe they're a friend on social media or just whatever. And I look at all these people who have relationships that I'm not envious of, who I know have settled. They're with a partner that they don't respect, and the reason that I know that is because they're texting me, who has been intimate with them. And I've had to do so many 180s right with that because I've had so many women do that who had a sexual relationship with me, and then they're with the person that they're dating, and they're continuing to send me messages of some sort. I said, I would never allow that. I would never tolerate that. Can you imagine if you were with your person and they felt comfortable messaging another guy that they were sexually intimate with? The level of disrespect that is to their partner that's insane. I said, I would never be a guy that tolerates that. And what's fascinating is I know subconsciously, not even subconsciously, consciously at a level, they know that they don't have the exalted respect for their partner. Otherwise, they wouldn't even think about doing something like that. And so I look at the people who have these relationships, not just of those examples, but other ones where it's those things that are situationships that, because we've, been hooking up for a long enough time, we're comfortable, we're good friends, and we might as well have kids. I say, everybody is living a life of settling, of settlement, of mediocrity, of average, of I said, I don't want any of that. I said, I want ecstasy. I want passion. I want adventure. I want, the person where you're building that empire. You're traveling the world, right? You're making each other feel heaven on earth. I said, I don't want any of this average bullshit. I don't want any of this above the surface garbage. I don't want any of this. I want that kingdom spouse. I want that divine relationship. I want that euphoric love that I saw a good quote that, the kind of couple that when people look at them, they know that God put them together. I said, that's what I want, dude. I don't want to be inconsistent with what I say I want in my actions by entertaining anything fucking less than that. And so that helps me when I'll look at my relationship status and I'll look at the people who are in relationships and I'll say, I don't want to be like any of you. I don't want the life that you have. I don't want that what you call success, I call enslavement. What you call, you've made it, I call the forfeiture of your fucking dreams, man. And I look at the path that I'm on, and I look at, the place that I'm going, I look at where God is guiding me towards and the man that I've become on the way through my hero's journey. And it's the last quote that we read in law number 34, act like a king to be treated like one. It just, when you align with God, it's so hard not to believe that you're not destined for great things, right? Because I would challenge, to what end? Why bother? What was the necessity for all of these trials, for all of this adversity, for all of this hardship, if not to steward an incredible blessing, if not to be put on a platform where you have the potential now to impact, to change, to transform, to save countless of lives, If not that, then why this, right? So that's what sort of gives me peace of mind and solace when I think about the hero's journey, when I juxtapose it towards current circumstances and conditions, when I compare and contrast that, and I find myself falling into the comparison trap with other people. That's all things that give me sort of reassurance that to find myself tuning into the frequency of God's voice and to give myself reassurance of what God would tell me. You're okay. You're not behind. You're not late. Stay with me. I have you in your own race. I have them in a different race. Don't worry about them, right? And with that, the last thing I put is watch the magic of your life unfold. So when you run your own race, and I'll say that again, I don't know when to cut off. When you run your own race, when you finally commit, when you run your own race and you finally commit into stepping into the arena, and you're present and you're aligning with God and you've had the courage to embark on your hero's journey and you're viewing all these trials and adversities as refinement, as preparation, not as punishment, as this is happening for me to serve my highest and greatest good, my greatest potential, my greatest ecstasy and pleasure. This is literally going to result in heaven on earth for me one day, of me aligning with my kingdom spouse, having my dream life, freedom forever. I said, watch the magic of your life unfold. And with that, that is law number 35. That was a long, but I had a lot to say, a lot to share. That's 35, master the art of timing. Time's a beautiful thing, man. It's the ultimate healer. Because right now, herniated disc in my lower back, flat tire in my car, and $2,600 going to the gutter for 2 teeth extractions, root canal. We're living the fucking rat life right now, man. But it's like, one day you won't be. Right? One day this will just be a fucking memory. The pain of today, dude, will be forgotten when you were living a life of freedom forever, right? Because you had belief that anyone could escape, that you could escape, that you could live free, that you were worthy of freedom, and you had the courage to pursue. That you mastered the art of timing, this law, number 35. You played the long game, right? You enacted patience, you trusted God in His timing and His plan for you and His will, and submitted and surrendered to that. But then courage to pursue with action, with commitment, with stepping into the arena, right? With having the courage to pursue, to let go, to persevere, to fail, to try again. That's what it's all about, man. That's what rat life is. That's what Tarek House is, right? We're all gonna make it. And I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed.